All right, we're going to talk about this worksheet together for your 5-6. We're going to just do problem number 1, and then you are going to do the rest on your own. Keeping in mind, obviously, that if you need more help than just the first one, make sure you talk to your teacher. Also, there is no answer key. You will need to get these checked. And I highly recommend, at least for the first few that you do one at a time and get them checked. All right. So first things first is read your problem. So problem number 1, a candle's height in inches, hours after it is lit, is modeled by the function h of x equals negative x plus 9. You're going to answer 4 things. The first one is x represents something and h of x represents something. When I'm asking what do they represent, I am looking for a word or a phrase that x and h of x represent. And the word or phrase must be something that is measurable. So you must be able to measure it. For example, you can measure someone's age, right? You are 14 years old. You are 72 years old. I can measure that. You can measure someone's weight. You can measure how many seconds it has been. You can measure something like that. So when you read your problem, x and h of x, it's not telling you here what they stand for. It doesn't specifically say x represents this. You got to figure it out. You are going to start by looking at the words and identify what 2 things are being measured. So a candle's height in inches, hours after it is lit. Those are the 2 things being measured, the height in inches and the hours. X represents one of them and h of x represents the other. And you don't get to just pick. There's a right and wrong answer. X is going to be the time. And h of x is going to be the other thing. So in this problem, which one is time? Hours. So x represents hours. And h of x is going to be the other thing, which in this problem is height in inches. Figure that out for every problem. What are the 2 things being measured? You are looking for the word or phrase that tells you 2 things that are being measured. You should be able to put a number on the answer. You should be able to ask yourself how many hours, and your answer should be able to be a number. I don't know what the thing is, but I should be able to ask you how many hours, and you should be able to say 3 hours. Yes, that works. But if you were to just say lit, you can't put a number on lit. So that doesn't make sense. That's not something I'm measuring. I'm measuring the hours and the height. Okay. The next 2 things are going to have 2 parts. You're going to tell me what the slope is based on your function. And then we're going to talk about what that represents. So the slope is your coefficient with your variable. Remember, coefficient is the number in front of your variable. So when you look at your function, h of x equals negative x plus 9, the slope is the number in front of x, not including x. Okay? So your slope, well, there's not a number there. So remember that means there is a 1. So your slope is negative 1. Not negative 1x, not negative x, not just negative, negative 1. And what does it represent? Well, slope is a rate of change. A rate of change is telling you how something has changed over time. So your negative is going to tell you that something is happening in a downward direction. And you're going to be specific on this problem. What's happening? I have a candle. Its height in inches, hours after it is lit, is modeled by your function. So what would that negative tell you is happening to your candle? It tells you it's decreasing. It tells you it's going down. It tells you it is burning. So I'm going to say the candle is burning. I know that because it's the negative. Now you're going to tell me, well, how fast is it burning? It is burning 1. And then how fast is it burning? It's burning 1 inch per hour. So you need a word or a phrase that tells me if it's going up or down. You need to tell me the number. And then you need something per something. And you put your h of x variable per your x variable based on what you had here. So inches per hour. So your slope should always have some phrase like this: inch per hour, miles per minute, people per classroom, something per something. And then you need to make sure you have a word that's telling me if it's going up or down. So it's burning lets me know it's going down. If your slope was positive, you would need a word to say it's increasing. Something is growing 1 inch per hour, like a plant. Maybe it was a plant and not a candle, and it is growing 1 inch per hour or whatever it might be. And the last part is your y-intercept, which once again, you're going to start with the number, which is your constant, which is the 9. And it is a positive 9, so we're going to just put 9. Make sure if that was a minus 9, you'd have a negative. Your y-intercept represents the start. So I don't want you to literally just write the start, but I want you to write a sentence that tells me something about how this is the candle's starting height. So the candle starts at 9 inches tall. So in this one, with your y-intercept, you need something that's telling me that that's the start. The candle starts at 9 inches tall. The candle was 9 inches in the beginning before being lit. The candle was 9 inches tall. Something along those lines is going to be your y-intercept. Now, at this point, you need to finish page 21 and 22. However, I highly recommend you either do one with your teacher before you start doing some on your own, or you do one and get it checked before you do another one. I would not do more than one at a time until you've got them checked and you're doing well on your own. Get them checked as you are going.